of the earth, it is our planet.
Hi there, this video is a step-by-step guide how to use the Polymer solar calculator. As you'll recall, this solar calculator is to help you to determine the cost of the solar system that is custom designed for your house, for your requirements. It'll give you an accurate quotation. It'll give you a clear indication of how to purchase the necessary components from the solar marketplace. So here we go. Alright, what you're looking at is basically an Excel spreadsheet. We're making this available to you through the solar marketplace, and by completing this Excel spreadsheet you will end up with knowing exactly the size of the inverter that you need, how many solar panels you need, in other words your daily energy, and then what size battery you need, the storage to give you the backup or the autonomy that you've designed with the solar with the solar calculator. And then these four subsystems are available as we're indicating it here. They're available on the solar marketplace. So by completing the solar calculator, you know exactly what size inverter, how many panels, and which battery you need. And then you can hop right over to the solar marketplace and you can go and buy these components. We can ship these countrywide, nationwide. We can ship this to you. All right, so let me show you how this calculator works. Really quite easy and super effective to see exactly what you need for your requirements and to make it fit into your budget as well. So in real time, as you update these items, now these are all the typical residential appliances, and you're going to indicate how you use them in daytime on these two columns, or these columns over here, these two green rows, and then at night. And by completing the daytime and nighttime consumption, in real time, this Excel spreadsheet will just add up all the bits and pieces, consumption and power, to give you an accurate quotation and the components that you will need to buy to make this complete solar system for your house. All right, so just to put some numbers in, I entered here the geyser, 150 liter geyser. That is typically the power consumption. That's the size of the element. It's a 3 kilowatt element. And I indicated that you have one geyser of 3 kilowatts. So I'm going to make that as 0 again. That is how many minutes I had it on. So I'm going to make that as 0 again, just to start with a clean piece of paper. 0. So here we have a calculator now. Let's make everything 0. That we just start, like as I said, with a clean sheet of paper. So here we have no inverter needed, no battery, or no panels and no battery. And now let's start compiling the household as you want to use it. So I'm going to go for the typical residential application. So let's say that you do have a 3 kilowatt geyser, and let me just show you the impact of it. So if you have one geyser, so as I explained, all the green columns, these two green columns we need to populate for daytime consumption, and these two green columns we need to populate for nighttime consumption. So this obviously will be battery, and this will then be coming from the solar panels and or the grid, I mean the battery. All right, so we have one 150 liter geyser. I'm going to indicate in this column how many minutes must it be on. So I'm going to put in 45 there. That's more or less how long a geyser takes, depending on the starting temperature and again the end temperature, how hot your thermostat is set. But that's typically 45 minutes. Here, the second column here for nighttime consumption, I can override this and I can make it a 0, saying that we don't have any geyser at night, or I can leave it a 1. The default position is whatever I enter in daytime, it will also show the same at nighttime. But you'll see here that no power and no energy is being used at nighttime until you enter the amount of minutes for this particular item. So if we add here 45 minutes as well, you'll see if I enter 45 minutes there, then also it adds to the nighttime consumption 3 kilowatts of power, because that's the power of the geyser, the element, and that will tell you how much energy it is. So obviously remember that power times time gives you energy. So just by entering the geyser, to power the geyser, 45 minutes in daytime, 45 minutes in nighttime, you'll need a 3 kilowatt inverter. Well, obviously that's 3 kilowatt of power, and that's how much energy you'll need. So 2.25 kilowatt at night, 2.25 kilowatt at daytime. That's how much energy you need to harvest from the panels if you want to be grid independent. And obviously the nighttime energy, that'll have to come from a battery because there's no sun. So that battery will then need to be a 2.25 or a 2.3 kilowatt hour battery. And this adds up in real time here to show you that this system will cost you 67,000 Rand. It'll be one subsystem, which is the inverter subsystem, one subsystem, which is the battery subsystem, and then the solar panels. That'll be 3 panels, 3 460 watt panels, and then obviously the mounting equipment to mount those panels. So that's what the system will cost you. All right, so let's say you are smart and you've decided, no, you actually don't want to warm up the geyser at night, so I'll make that as 0 again, because when the sun comes up, the sun will then make energy available to warm the geyser. All right, so let's go down the list. Let's say typically the typical household, let's go to, you've got one fridge and you've got one freezer. Let me show you what happens over here. So these green columns, we could manually indicate how many minutes we're going to be using that item. But your fridge and your freezer, and also if you have a display fridge, and they are using a lot of power, with them you cannot control, you can't unplug and plug and unplug it. I mean, that's really silly to do. So what happens is these columns are not editable. You can't make any changes over here. So if I try to make a change over there, the software will shout at us saying that we can't make a change to those fields. So this time over here is using the daytime hours. There are 8 hours in day, and that's how we, for an average throughout the year, we assume there's 8 hours daytime and then 16 hours nighttime. So all these columns that are not green actually use that 16 hours to calculate these minutes, but there's also a duty cycle in that. So we know that a fridge and a freezer, the motor is not running all the time. They cycle on and off depending if the fridge is cold or not and how much the door is opened and closed. So we've calculated into this formula over here, there is a duty cycle. You'll see there, you'll see that there is a duty cycle of 0.3, so 35%. And here we can see these are hidden, that we've hidden those duty cycles over there. So if you say that you don't want 16 hours of backup, so you don't want this fridge for 16 hours, you actually only want to get through load shedding. Let's say the load shedding is 4 hours. If I then change this to 4, so you'll see that these numbers then update. So these 4 hours drive the calculation of these items. You'll see there are some more at the end, your electric fence and your security system, etc. Those are typically appliances that you're not going to be switching on and off. And then obviously when there's load shedding of 4 hours, like the example I entered here, then these minutes will update. So that's 4 times 60 minutes, that's 240 minutes that these items will be on. That's not your electric fence, your security system, etc. So while we're at that, let's say we've got one electric fence, we've got one security system, and we've got 2 garage doors that are on standby. They use very little power. And then obviously we've got a router that's for the Wi-Fi at home. So as you enter these values, so for 4 hours, that's how much energy these items will be using. If we go back to the 16 hours, and that's typically what we use grid independence, so 16 hours nighttime, that's how much energy you'll be using. And as we are busy populating this sheet is updating as we go. And you can see already that now we need 2 batteries, so 2 battery subsystems, because of the fridge and the freezer. They use quite a bit of energy. If you scroll down again, there's a 1.6 over there. That's obviously electric fence. That's also using 1.6 kilowatt hours. So if that all adds up together, we need more than 1 battery. But now let's be sensible. We're not going to go for grid independence. We are only going to do for 4 hours of load shedding. Let's say it's stage 3 or stage 4 load shedding. It's stage 6, I think it's 4 hours. So we've got 4 hours of backup. Well, then we're back to 1 battery. So we need at this stage, we need 1 inverter, 1 battery, we need 6 solar panels, and then obviously mounting for 6 panels as well. So at this stage, the system will cost us just over 77,000 Rand as we carry on. All right, so let's carry on with the appliances as we have it in the house. So we've got the fridge, the freezer. Let's say we want to charge, there are 4 people living in the house, and we want to charge the cell phones. And let's say it takes about maybe 2 hours, 120 minutes, but that won't be in daytime, that'll actually be nighttime. So let's make that 0 again. And we can see in nighttime, I can't control that. We already worked that into the calculator to know how many minutes it'll take to charge a cell phone. So I'm going to go down the list further. Hair dryer, oh yes, mom needs to do her hair in the morning, that'll be nighttime. So let's say that hair dryer takes 7 minutes. So just capturing the minutes. And the kids are not going to play computer games on the desktop PCs while there's load shedding. Let's say we have lights in the house. Let's say we have, I don't know, within 20. Obviously not all the 20 are going to be all on at the same time. And let's say of the 20 lights we will use, let's go 3 hours, 180 minutes. 180 minutes. So if we have 20 lights on, obviously lights on and off all the time, not all at the same time, but then some of these and some are there. Also downlighters, remember, if you have downlighters in your house, one switch will control maybe 5 or 10 or even more downlighters. But as you can see, lights use very little energy, so it's only 0.42 kilowatt hour, even if you have 20 lights on for 3 hours. And we go down the list and we see, okay, we're at least going to have a cup of coffee. And the kettle takes, I don't know, let's say it takes 4 minutes to boil the kettle. And we're going to carry on, and we're not going to be ironing and washing and not going to do any of the microwave. I need to at least warm my pies. So in daytime, let's say in day, we're going to use the microwave for 15 minutes. And at nighttime also, let's say there are quite a few of us that are going to now use the microwave. And so when we move down the list, we look at the pool pump or the pressure pump. If you've got a pressure pump, you'll enter that. You get the logic, so I'm not going to go through all of the details. If you have appliances that are not on our list, well, then you can actually add it over here. So let's say you have an air fryer, and the air fryer is 0.5 kilowatts, it's 500 watts. Just look at the little label, you'll find a little label somewhere on the air fryer. Well, you've got one of those, and you're going to be using it tonight, and Mom will make us something delicious. It'll take 30 minutes in the air fryer. And there's our 0.25 kilowatt hour for that. All right, so coming back to the top over here, what have we done? All right, we've selected in daytime. Obviously, this daytime consumption, that will come from the solar panels. So that is very smart. So the solar panels do two things. And if you refer to the how-to videos, go watch the videos again, how to choose, how to select your solar system. It'll explain that the solar panels have two functions. That is to charge the battery and to keep the loads, which are working in daytime, to keep them going. So this energy is, or this power is daytime power that's concurrent. And maybe I might pause a minute on these two. You'll see I've got 6.4 kilowatt here at night time. That is if all the items that we've selected in this list are on at the same time. Can it happen? Yes, it can. Is it likely? Maybe not, but it can happen. So you'll see the selection, the component selection now selected 2 inverters. Well, because one inverter cannot power 6.4 kilowatts. But you can be smart. If you are prepared to be cognizant of what is actually on and what is consuming power, then one inverter can do the job. Just know that you cannot run all the items that you have selected to be on backup at the same time, because if you switch them on at the same time, if Mom starts up the hair dryer and she starts up the air fryer both at the same time, maybe she'll be doing a hair while she's making food. Well, I'm not too sure if that's going to be a good idea, but be it as it may, if all these items are on at the same time, then you'll be overloading the inverter, and the inverter will trip and actually shut down. And if that happens too frequently, it will probably damage the inverter. Depending on what you're buying, it most likely will damage the inverter, and you'll have to be in the dark for a while to have that inverter repaired. All right, so this 4.7 is daytime consumption. Obviously, we don't have all the items on in daytime that we had in nighttime. So if this is what you want, and you are not going to be adjusting your lifestyle to just have in the back of your mind, what is on and what is not on, then you'll not be able to get away with one 5 kilowatt hour inverter. You'll have to probably install an 8 kilowatt inverter, or maybe 2 5s. This model just looks at a 5 kilowatt inverter, and obviously it'll then need 2 5 kilowatt inverters to make the solution work. So to come back over here, let's take one of the heavier consumption, the kettle. So let's say we're not going to use the kettle at night. So if I make that a 0, you'll see take 4 kilowatts off it. Now we need 4.4 kilowatt, and now we only need one inverter. So that's how this little model works. Play with this. It's really functional. It's really helpful. It's accurate. What is inaccurate though is that these wattage, or the power consumption per appliance, obviously not all TVs are the same, and not all fridges are the same, and not all kettles are the same. These are just average ballpark numbers that we've learned over time, which is representative of the average appliances. But if these numbers are accurate enough to go with, then these 3 parameters, the inverter size, the amount of panels you need, and the battery capacity, these numbers are really functional. These are your design parameters. These are the components, or the subsystems, that you can select from the solar marketplace, and it's simple as that. So I can actually just click on it. So you'll see there's the link. If I'm going to just click on this link, it will then take you straight to the solar marketplace. It will then open you to the right position. Here we are in the solar marketplace, and here are the subsystems. So I can select the subsystem. There's the subsystem, the SunSync subsystem. I can add it to my basket, and then obviously I can go to checkout and I can actually buy this component. Okay, so going back to the solar calculator, this calculator is also downloadable from the marketplace. If I maybe go back to the marketplace and I just scroll back to the selectors, you'll see there's software. If you select the software section, and you'll see there is the solar calculator. Only for December 2023, the solar calculator is for free. So you can select the calculator and download it for free from our website. I hope you find this exciting as I do. Enjoy, play with it. It'll give you a very clear indication of what you need in your house to be enjoying the benefits of a solar system. Thank you.